Hey there. Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, this is Andre with another Impulsive Thinker Podcast short. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. This past Monday, you heard Wendy Brookhouse and myself discuss about finances and the entrepreneur. And I thought I'd share, especially with the 3 money mindset factors, how we were raised, the life pressures, and how our brain works. Really has an influence on our relationship with money and the finances. For me, the big one is I just recently realized this a couple months ago, was one of my subconscious money mindsets goes all the way back to the way I was raised and how I perceive myself to earn money and revenue and increase my wealth. And that money mindset actually hindered my growth subconsciously without realizing it. I was raised by 2 hardworking parents. They were, one was a registered nurse and the other one worked for a big power company as a mechanical maintainer millwright. And, both union backgrounds, blue collar, hard workers. That's where I learned my work ethic. But I was always raised, and I guess it got pummeled into me. Pummeled is a bad word. I can't think of the proper word right now, but ingrained, I guess, was for every hour you worked, you got X amount of dollars, and that was your wage. And the only way you can earn money is by doing direct work, direct labor, per se. And at the same time, anyone who made money off of other people's blood, sweat, and tears were, a-holes. They were not honest people, and they don't have the right to do that. So I've always struggled. Okay, I delegate and all that stuff's good, but I always struggled trying to not, try to do visionary work without guilt. And by realizing this money mindset was that I had a hard time. I still had to clock in. For me to justify my visionary work, which is kind of sitting there and doing nothing, if other people are going to watch me. But I still had to put in my time and earn some revenue, do that hour work to get my wage. And that really got me to doing a lot of stuff I should not be doing and pulling me away from my unique ability and the stuff that I do very, very well and the stuff that my team relies on me to do. And I guess I had this subconscious guilt that people would look at me differently if I'm making money off of other people's blood, sweat, and tears. But let me tell you here as an entrepreneur, the one thing I realize is realistically, the less I do, the more important I am to the team. As long as I'm there to support them and help them and provide the vision for moving forward and an end result, they really appreciate that and need that. But if I'm tied up doing a bunch of stuff and tasks that I don't like to do, that I'm not good at, that my team can actually do, I'm pulling myself away from them, from supporting them. Us as entrepreneurs, we started a company. We've learned a lot of capabilities and abilities and tasks that, at the startup we had to do. We had no choice. But as people go on, we hire people that are better than us in those things. They get a great kick out of it. I don't understand why they get a kick, but they don't like to do the stuff that I do. So my companies, if I reflect on this, the times that I kind of push away that subconscious mindset about having to earn, every time I earn my wages when I put an X amount of work in the company. But the more time I spent working on the company and working on my team to get better, that's when my companies were more successful and we had less problems. When I got stuck and mired in the depths of stuff I don't like to do because of this mindset that's kind of forcing me, telling me, and this is it, it's a perceived thing here. I believe my mindset was telling me that other people were perceiving me being as lazy because I wasn't doing the same things they were, and I'm not faulting, I'm not criticizing my parents and the money mindset that they have. That's, like I said, they were hard workers. They were very successful at what they're doing. But the way you were raised, just like Wendy was describing, the way you were raised has an influence on it today. And when I made that realization about that money set, I'm conscious about it. And I said, it's, in my view, it's silly, and I'm able to push it off aside, and I'm working better to doing less stuff, and I don't feel as guilty. So these money questions that Wendy brought up are freaking fantastic, right? Like the way you were raised, like, were you able to talk about money? We were not really supposed to talk money. You couldn't talk with other people because it's taboo. People are afraid of talking about money. They might make more than others. And that stays with you and becomes subconscious. And life pressures has a big influence on it. Shit happens, and that ties up your finances, or it makes you a little more cautious, or makes you a little more wasteful. But also how your brain works was another key factor that Wendy brought into it for sure. It's not only the fact that you're neurodivergent or you're neurotypical. I think in various mental health settings, situations, conditions will also have an effect on it. If you're an analytical person, if you're a creative person, if you're left, you're right, you're up, you're down, whatever. All of these have an impact on how you perceive money and finances. So what I want to ask you right now is, a listener, what is your opinion about finances and wealth, and what's your relationship with money? I remember this sitting in a workshop with a bunch of entrepreneurs. Someone was starting to talk about how, if they make too much money, people perceive it. And I asked them the questions, what's your relationship with money? And what do you see money as? And for me, they threw the question back to me because they weren't too sure on what I was asking. And for me, I want to become a millionaire. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I have become rich. I can do whatever I want and just not worry. For me, money is a measurement of my success. I have to set goals, achieve them, set new goals, achieve them. If not, I flounder, I get depressive, and get an bored entrepreneur with ADHD is very dangerous and can cause a lot of problems. But what is your relationship with money, and what's your interpretation of it? Is it a way to measure success, or is it a way to get what you want? But I'm really happy that Wendy was able to talk to us those 2 times for you to hear about this. She definitely brings a different aspect of wealth than most financial advisors do. She's not concerned about the commission. She's concerned that you live a successful life and that you're wealthy in the different aspects of money, finances, life, family, friends, relationships. And I agree with her. That whole concept of that kind of wealth is phenomenal. And her 1-number solution, I highly recommend it because I use it quite extensively. And it helps keep my spending under wraps. And then also remember, what are your spending habits when you start getting money in the bank? I know for me in the past, I see a lot of cash in the bank and I make some big expenditures of things I've always wanted without really planning it out. And, cash flow is king. I didn't believe it till I really throttled myself a few times with that. But this, I think, now I'm starting to ramble. And what I got to do is I got to bring more people, financial people, wealth people, for us to get how do we look at our numbers? Because for me, I look at my company numbers differently than most people. And that's the way I gauge if the company is doing well or not, or that's the way I can foresee it. So it's okay that you see it different. You may not do it like everyone else does, or the reports that QuickBooks give you, or whatever software you're using. To be okay with how you receive it. Get the information that you can see will work for you. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I convinced myself. I got to brainstorm and come up with different ideas and topics and get some new guests for us, because this is very important. Either it makes or break you. And I think, once I got my diagnosis and understood my spending habits and how my brain interfered with that, I got a lot of clarity. So thanks again, Wendy. I got to say, your perspective of wealth has got me some comfort and faith in financial advisors. Some, but not a lot. But definitely let me know what you think of Wendy's episodes. Maybe you can post them on LinkedIn or Facebook. It'd be greatly appreciated. Or send us an email at questions@theimpulsivethinker.com. Thanks for listening. And like I said, I promise I will get more financial stuff on there for you as an entrepreneur so we can look at our numbers and grow from there. Thanks again for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.